Hi everyone. Today we're going to do the dishes, but with a dishwasher that you can use on your countertop and doesn't even need to be connected to the water supply. If you stick around, I'll show you. This test is going to be a bit unusual since I've never reviewed a dishwasher before, but the manufacturer asked me to try out their machine because Blitzhome has a few dishwashers. This is a relatively simple and straightforward model, which means it unfortunately doesn't have a Bluetooth adapter or a dedicated app, so you absolutely cannot control it from your phone, only from the physical buttons located on the front panel. But in my personal opinion, that's not a huge or significant issue when it comes to a dishwasher, especially for its intended purpose. In this video, I'll cover the usual things. I'll show you the machine, go over the specifications, test it out, do a noise test, and a dishwashing test as well. So let's get started. Let's start with the exterior of the machine. Well, as you can see, this is a relatively simple piece with a glass front panel, and it even has a window so you can watch the inside while it's washing. I don't think this makes much sense, but it's interesting nonetheless. If you're bored, you can watch the water splashing around. The controls are here on the front glass in the form of touch-sensitive buttons. Here you can conveniently select from the available 9, yes, no less than 9 distinct programs. Among these comprehensive options, you'll readily find a normal program, a strong one, so a truly heavy-duty cycle. There's even one specifically designed for babies, particularly for thoroughly sterilizing baby dishes. And there's also an innovative fruit washing program, so there are indeed all sorts of diverse and useful programs readily available. The versatile machine can be utilized in 2 distinct ways. You can directly connect it to the main water supply, or alternatively you can use it in locations without readily available running water. Then you simply open the top window and carefully pour water in. What's interesting is that this is a very water-efficient device, which means that if you fill it from the top, it only needs 5.2 liters of water. If you use mains water, it uses about 6.5 liters. Of course, the length of the programs varies depending on which program you use. The strong program is a bit longer. The standard, by the way, is about 45 minutes, if I remember correctly. So you get a washing duration similar to a regular dishwasher here as well. Okay, then I'll show you the machine from the outside so you can see what it looks like. I'll use this camera for that purpose. Let's start with the front panel, where you can clearly see the buttons used to operate this machine. We have a power button, a standard button, an eco button, a baby care button where you can use the strong program for a more intensive wash, a quick program for fast washing, a fruit wash option, a drying function, and the start and pause buttons. So that's all of them. If we open the door, we can see that there are 2 baskets inside the machine. You can conveniently place cutlery and other similar smaller items in the upper basket. These tabs here are exceptionally well designed. You can precisely place the cutlery between them so that they effectively take up significantly less space. The other main part is a much larger basket where you can comfortably put plates and bigger pots and pans. By the way, this particular dishwasher is designed for 4 complete place settings, so you can comfortably fit 4 deep plates, 4 flat plates, about 4 glasses, and perhaps 1 or 2 small items. These are what fit inside this compact appliance. Moving further inside, you can clearly see that there are 2 primary spray arms located here, and there's a 3rd spray arm positioned at the very top, though it won't be very visible from this angle here. The main thing to note is that there's a 3rd spray arm situated above the main tray. Of course, these spray arms can be easily removed, which is very important because sometimes you really need to clean them if any food residue gets inside and, for example, they stop spinning or functioning. Naturally, we also have a very effective filter system, which is thoughtfully designed with 3 distinct layers, meaning there's a robust metal mesh positioned on the very top. The large debris simply cannot get through this protective metal mesh, and underneath, deep inside, there's a remarkably fine filter insert that even the much smaller particles are absolutely unable to pass through. And finally, at the very bottom, there's a protective grate here. I'm not going to take it out right now, but it can be easily removed as well. It's a small comb-like grate, and you can certainly take this out too. Its primary purpose is also to effectively prevent any debris from getting into the pump. Otherwise, the pump is located on this side of the machine. And on the opposite side, it draws the water back in. So this is, of course, a recirculating system. The point is that it's water saving, so it can operate with relatively little water. It's very important, and I could perhaps mention this among the experiences, but I'd rather explicitly state it here and now, that even though the machine operates with an internal water tank, this doesn't necessarily mean it's a simple or unsophisticated device, because the sophisticated programs within it work really quite well and effectively, performing their intended functions with remarkable efficiency. Understand the simplicity in the sense that even though there is an internal water tank that needs to be filled, the machine does not use up all the stored water in this internal tank at once, but rather carefully distributes it across the various different washing processes. What's important about this is that the machine does not have a pre-wash function, which I infer from the fact that the dishwasher detergent or tablet does not go into a closed compartment that opens on a timer, but rather needs to be placed on the door. And when you close the door, it simply drops into the washing chamber. So this means that there is no pre-wash here. It starts directly with the main wash, and then of course there is rinsing and drying. So in this respect, this machine is a bit simpler than a regular dishwasher. According to the manufacturer, the noise it makes is a bit higher than that of a built-in machine, which is really no surprise since this one is not installed under a counter inside a cabinet. So that's why here you can hear the water dripping and the system operating a bit more clearly. Of course, I measured this as well. Take a look. Well, that's about it. I don't think the machine is terribly loud, but it's definitely noisier than a built-in one, so it's more recommended to use it during the day rather than at night. So that's pretty much all about the machine. And now I'll jump right into my experiences. I don't want to make this video too long because everyone is interested in how it actually washes the dishes. I have both good and bad experiences to share about this. My negative experience isn't with the quality of the washing, but rather with how much you can actually fit into this machine. The thing is, the space inside is relatively small since this is a countertop dishwasher. This means that, unfortunately, you won't be able to put really large plates in the very bottom rack, or at least you'll only be able to fit a very limited few of them. From what I've personally seen and tried, out of our larger, deeper soup plates, you can only comfortably fit 2, or perhaps maybe 3 if you're being exceptionally generous. And alongside those, you can also fit 2 deep plates. So if you primarily have large plates, let's just say you can realistically fit 2 flat plates, 2 deep plates, 2 small plates, and the various little odds and ends. With normal, somewhat smaller plates, of course, you absolutely won't have this particular problem. You can easily fit 4 full servings, that is to say 4 complete place settings, and even potentially more than that. Similarly, there can be issues with larger items, but after all, this is a small machine meant for countertop use, so you really can't expect it to fit a huge soup pot. All right, but how does it wash? What is the quality of the washing like? Well, I actually didn't have any problems with this. We have 2 kids here who can really get everything dirty, smear stuff all over, and they don't really rinse things off. They just leave them in the kitchen. So there's absolutely everything on the plates, from dried ketchup to whatever else you can imagine, and our trusty dishwasher at home always has plenty of work to do. So for me, this dishwasher really ended up in the right place for the test because there was definitely plenty to wash with it. On our own dishwasher, I usually use the strong, that is the intensive program. With this particular dishwasher, I tried out what the regular standard program could actually do because I was curious to see if that would be sufficiently enough to effectively clean even the dirtier dishes as well. I carefully loaded the machine well, placing in a considerable amount of plates, glass dishes, various glasses, and all the cutlery. Basically everything related to eating that was dirty was here and truly needed to be washed, and the final result was actually quite perfect. What I still wasn't satisfied with is that the space inside is relatively small, so it's hard to fit things like wooden spoons, larger wooden utensils, mixing tools, and ladles in there. And if there was any issue with the washing quality, it was exactly with the wooden spoon, because I managed to place it somewhere where the water didn't reach it properly. Everything else about this experience was truly perfect, leaving nothing to be desired. We are incredibly grateful for your time and attention, and sincerely thank you for watching this presentation. However, it's important to clarify that the minor point we discussed was certainly not a significant problem or a major flaw in any way. We are absolutely not talking about something terrible or catastrophic. It was simply that the overall quality, particularly in terms of its performance and build, exhibited a subtle yet noticeable difference when compared directly to a much larger, more robust, and undeniably more serious professional-grade dishwasher. Who exactly would I recommend this particular machine to? Well, quite obviously to those who simply do not have the convenient option to install a dishwasher directly under their kitchen counter. If you have a small kitchen, live in a rental where the landlord doesn't allow it, and perhaps most importantly, for those who don't have access to running water, because if you buy a dishwasher like this, you can take it to your weekend house, use it on a boat, in a camper, or in 1,000 other places, since you only need to pour 5.2 liters of water into the top, and you can do your dishes. And this really gives you a huge amount of freedom compared to a built-in, under-counter, large, standard-sized dishwasher. So if you genuinely have these kinds of specific needs, and many people certainly do, then please feel completely free to go ahead and buy it. At this very moment in time, the current price is somewhere around 130,000 Hungarian forints, which is not cheap, but compared to the selection, to the domestic selection, it's not insanely high either. You'll find the purchase link below the video, along with a reference to my written article. Read that if you're interested in the device, and you'll also find the coupon code there so you can buy it at a lower price. If you enjoyed this video, check out one of the other 2 videos appearing next to me and subscribe to the channel so we can finally reach 10,000 subscribers. Take care, look after yourselves, and I'll be back next week with more reviews. Until then, bye.